Okay, great. Hello, everybody who are right now with us and who are going to join our today press club discussions. My name is Mariam Prisazhnuk. I'm foreign correspondent for informational agency Glavcom, and today our next episode with our colleagues named Press Club, where we are discussing with different reporters from all over the world their own experience and their framework of understanding in their countries different security political issues. And today I'm very delighted to introduce you my colleague from Croatia, Silvana Mendusic. Did I pronounce right your
You
surname?
pronounce it very well.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You pronounce it very well.
Yeah, because different languages we should read in different
Yeah,
way, and
yes.
I'm still getting used to it. Our discussion of today will be dedicated to Transnistrian issues, and it is extremely unexpected for me because it's really unexpected to see some. To, to meet some colleagues in Croatia who are going to write about Transnistrian topic, which is mostly which is mostly more important for us, for Ukraine, and especially in this time when we have some rising hot points of our war in on our territory. Silvana, as far as I know, you have recently come back from your trip, and could you please tell us more? What was your story about? What was your story about, and why did you decide to cover this issue right now?
Hello to everyone. It wasn't recent. I was in Moldova and that part of Moldova, Transnistria, in the end of the March, beginning of the April. So way months before the new incidents and new development. So it wasn't recent. For us, for RTL Croatia, the Moldova was very interesting country to cover because it's close to Ukraine. It's the poorest European country. It's neutral. It's it open its heart to Ukrainian refugees and has that very important and we think interesting situation with the frozen conflict in Transnistria. That was our main goal. To cover how come that the poorest country in Europe has such a nice, it's welcoming the refugees with a warm heart. Was the situation there, and to what degree the Transnistria and the Russian troops deployed there can be a threat to the in the future of conflict in war in Ukraine. That was our main goal.
So your stories were connected to the Ukrainian conflict. You wrote about it from that perspective.
Of course, it was influenced by conflict, by war in Ukraine, and we wanted to know to what extent the Russian troops and that Russian enclave, that specific political situation, can influence the war in Ukraine, because Transnistria or Transnistria is not far from Odessa. It's not far from conflict. Moldova is, due to their economic state, in a very fragile condition, and that was our main interest.
And how it is from your point? What do you feel about Moldovan perspective? Of course, regarding the Ukrainian conflict, is this problem somehow underestimated or overestimated? What did you see? Is So is there really risk from your point of view?
I spent in Transnistria less than 24 hours, so I can't tell. I can't talk about the sentimental or political arguments in Transnistria. I think that because of economic situation and because of dependence of Russian gas and because of the weakness of the military and political position in Moldova, there is that frozen conflict can be a threat. Political and military analysts in Kishinev told us that per se, that Russian troops that were deployed, that like less than 2,000 troops in Transnistria, couldn't be a threat to Moldova by itself, but I think they are a constant threat to Moldova and to Ukraine as well. In recent developments, we see those series of explosions. Those incidents were not explained as well. We see mobilization, a call for mobilization in Transnistria, and I think that Russian government is building tensions in Transnistria region so that Moldova can be in some kind of shaken position.
You mentioned mobilization. How did you understand that something was going on like that?
Well, I'm from Balkan, as you know, during the 90s, where that part of Moldova broke up. We had a very much more important issues on our field. We had a war in Croatia, war in Bosnia, and we didn't cover that. What is different? I don't see talking to some citizens. I don't see the authentic nationalism in Moldova or Transnistria region. I have a sense or impression that it is artificial because in Transnistria region, there are a lot of Ukrainians, there are a lot of Russians, there are a lot of Moldovans. People are traveling all around, and you don't have you don't sense hatred, any kind of tensions. I think that any kind of tensions are artificially made by Russian government.
Did you manage to speak, to discuss something with local people in Transnistria directly? How did they, were they open to some kind of conversation with media people?
Absolutely no, because we gain our permission to film in Transnistria by some sport connection, because football club Sheriff was a great star, a great great phenomena during the Champions League. They beat football club Dinamo from Zagreb. They won a match with Real Madrid, and we wanted to show how come the situation when you have a really poor country, Moldova, and really poor Transnistria, and then you have a very strong football club, very nice center. I'm sorry, very nice center of the capital of that region, and we wanted to know who is on which money, on which fuel is that success fueled. It's obviously fueled by Russian gas, And we try to talk with, we ask for an interview with Mr. Gushan, who is the president of Football Club Sheriff, and as well of a lot of enterprise in Tiraspol, but we were denied, and even people in a football club told us that they rarely meet him and that he just came to the matches, and he's very undercover, very private persona. So we didn't have a chance to speak with a, let's say, owner of the Transnistria, and we didn't have a chance to speak with local citizens. It was very much strange because even during the war in Croatia, in Bosnia, you were you had access to the citizens. It was forbidden by the people who gained an access, and unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to speak with people in Tiraspol, in the center of Tiraspol. It was very strange situation, but that was the rules that we were told.
And what is when you did decide to go there? Did you know that sometimes it happens that journalists are being captured there by local, I don't know, force committee, like by local militaries, because all type of media activity is forbidden there. Did you prepare some request for Moldovan state, or maybe for local quasi representatives of that regime? How did you manage this bureaucratic part of your work to get there and to avoid any possible risks in your work?
We had one mistake. We went from the main road, and we got on the Russian troops, or that Transnistria troops. They had a heavy military. They have ammunition. They have some artillery on that point. I think they were surprised. We were surprised, and they were surprised. I wasn't. We had that permission to film the center and to film the football club sheriff. I wasn't aware. I mean, what?
So you got permission from the sheriff football club?
From the club.
Okay. That was the decision. Interesting. And what could be your recommendations to foreign reporters who are going to visit Transnistria these days? Because we are with local journalists from Romania and Moldova. We manage some kind of voluntary initiatives, open initiative of journalist collaboration in their region. And sometimes really people ask from another countries, from another regions, how to get to work, to go to work in Transnistria, and at the same time to fulfill your tasks, and not to be captured, and to avoid all these kind of threats that I have mentioned before, because really sometimes a lot of strange things happen even with Moldovan journalists whom they really know, and even they sometimes prefer not to go there. What kind of steps should be taken to avoid any possible threats, as it possible, of course?
I don't know. Is there any way? Is there any? There's you're forbidden to speak, to film the interviews with the citizens, which is very unpleasant and strange situations. You can't talk with, were denied to interview any officials. We asked the officials for an interview. So I don't have a recommendations. We had that good luck, and we had that permission because we know some people from sport club. But it's a very strange situation to work as a journalist if you can't work and if you can't really talk with citizens, with officials, when you are denied, when you can't move freely. Um, Even in the idea to go to ask someone about Kombasa, which is a huge ammunition store close to the Ukrainian border, is out of question. Um, if you don't have access to talk, it's really unimportant to be there. So um, my job was to just film the brutalism, just to see for a couple of hours situation on the street, not on the streets, on the center, which looks very nice. And that's all. For me, that's a great sign. If you can't really talk to citizens, if you can't take a vox populi on the street, if there's no official who want to give an interview, it's a strange situation. I didn't like the atmosphere because as a journalist, you can't work under those conditions. You're every minute watched. You have to film what they want and not what you want. So I don't have any tip. Uh, let's see what will happen in Transnistria. Uh, is it is there is Russian military authorities or government, um, if they want to go to that kind of adventure, to launch any kind of attack to Ukraine, which would be definitely awful thing to do. Um, let's see. I think that at this time there's nothing that is happening in Prednistrovye or Transnistria. They're just in frozen conflict, waiting for a call.
Have you managed to discuss the perception of the people from the right bank, as it is usually described, from the controlled part of Moldova? Did you talk with them? What do they think about the risks rising from uncontrolled region? Do they feel themselves threatened by it? Maybe some kind of fears, or they don't see anything like that? What can you say?
I didn't understand the question. Do you mean
did
the
you,
people?
Yeah, from the people, did you talk with about that with people from controlled territory of Moldova?
No, I didn't have access to talk with ordinary citizens. The situation is that that, as I understand, Transnistria is controlled by Russian money, mainly from Gazprom. The gas from Gazprom is a problem from Moldova. The center of Transnistria looks very well. It's developed. Mr. Gushan, who is the owner of Sherry Company, built a huge residential palace in the center. The center looks very nice. But I spoke with the people on the border, in the village on the border. I met a couple of people from Odessa who came to Tiraspol from Odessa. I spoke
Was
with
a refugee? Sorry, was a
they were
refugee?
they were refugees, and they were ready to go back to Odessa at the time. They spent like 2 weeks, and they were ready to go back to Odessa. So the people from Ukraine who were refugees in Transnistria region or in Moldova were more open than people from Transnistria who were Russian or any other origin.
Okay, and if to talk about Croatian perception, what people know about that part of regional security agenda? Do they know about Transnistria, that some kind of frozen conflict exists also in Moldova? How do they understand this challenge?
Okay, so the main TV station, national TV station, are covering Ukrainian war daily. All important media outlets are covering Ukrainian story very closely. But as you know, the Moldavian uh, the, there's no military actions in Transnistria. We do, as people from Balkan, understand that it can be a Trojan horse from Ukraine or from Moldova, because when you have a half million people close to the border with a huge ammunition, with 2,000 Russian troops and around 1,000 so-called peacekeepers, which are Russian, that could be a place or a starting point for a new way of attack to Ukraine. So uh, I know that people from that colleagues from Croatian television, which is public national television, went to Moldova and they tried to go to Transnistria as well. I didn't know if they get access, and I think that a lot of media in Croatia are covering closely through agencies, through other informations, if there's any way that 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 part of front can broken in a couple of months. We hope not, but there is a threat.
Yeah, we also hope. And I have one very important question regarding Transnistria. Um, it is how to say, it is the main perspective how we discuss it right now beyond the military threats. The problem is that Russia and Ukraine are that country between those who are guarantors of the peaceful negotiations of that conflict resolution. And obviously, after war in Ukraine ends, it will be impossible to discuss Transnistrian conflict within this among these states for a very long time. From the Balkan perspective, from the Balkan experience, how do you see how it could be transformed? In what direction could it be transformed in order to keep it calm at least?
Well, let's say that Bosnia and Herzegovina have a similar situation with Republika Srpska, which is part of Serbian territory within something that is a sovereign country, as Bosnia and Herzegovina. Um, I don't think that anyone can understand, and there is no Balkan recipe for the peace.
Yeah.
What is what is different that I don't see the huge in Moldova. I didn't have a sense of nationalism between and any tensions between Ukrainians, between Russians, between people, between Romanians. Um, there's you can't feel the sense of any tensions. So I think that that conflict in Transnistria, it is artificial. It's imported from Moscow, and there's no ground for any conflict between different ethnic nations in that small country. I hope it wouldn't be a conflict. It pose some threat to Ukraine. We have to watch carefully what are the Russian military plans to Odessa, and if some military analysts were talking that if there is a attack to Odessa, then Transnistria would be activated. I hope it wouldn't happen.
Thank you very much, Silvana, for your experience. I wish you plenty of excellent materials and safe trips. Hope to see you in live. And thank you very much for this discussion.
Thank you.
Guys who have been with us, I also wish you a great evening and a great weekend.